Let's go. I really got the feeling today that everything is going my way. Now this is what I'm talking about. Every time I see your smile, it makes me shout. Let's go! Let's go! Nothing's gonna stop us today. Get on the bus or get out the way. We're cruising with the radio on. So turn it up to 10. Here comes our favorite song. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Yes, let's go. It's another Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn, good whatever, wherever you find yourself. Welcome to another episode of Demystify Tech with Sam. This is season 2, episode 1, you might say, but it's actually episode 26, continuation from last year. It's been a while since we streamed, but we are back with full force. And before we get into what we're going to do today and we talk about what's expected on the show, let's go for our montage. And then when we come back, we will get right into it. Awesome! If you're joining us, welcome to another episode of Demystify Tech with Sam. It's been a long, trip, couple of months we've not streamed, but thankfully we're back. Lots of reasons why we couldn't do that, but we're back with full force, with new content, with awesome stuff to share. In today's episode, it's gonna be a bit short because it's more like an intro to season 2 or this year, what to expect, what we're going to be doing. So I'll be introducing you to a couple of things. But before we get into it, if this is your first time on the show, kindly, please subscribe. I'm on an operation or an agenda to get 10,000 followers or 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. So please, if this is your first time and you like the content or you heard about it, please subscribe. You see the info right here. Click on that. So go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and let's have fun and learn and contribute to the development of the world. Now, the second part is yes. As you know, when I start the show, I want to put out some announcements and some information before we get into the stream. From the 15th to the 17th of April 2021, this year, Global Azure Bootcamp is taking place. Because this time it's global or virtual, there are a lot of events happening. So please check from your local meetups or your local user groups and see what's happening. There is also the global events that a lot of speakers are speaking. Myself, I'll be speaking on the 17th on IoT and Azure. So make a date with me. You can check that also on my streams. It's actually scheduled to play on my YouTube channel. So you can go there on the 17th and you see that. And yeah, if you're in Ghana, I think the .NET user group is doing that. The Microsoft user group Ghana is also doing that. So whichever of the user groups you belong to or you have time for, participate in that, and then have fun and learn a lot about Azure and what it can do for you. The next thing is I'm starting a project, Tech on Wheels, this month. The whole concept is to build a mobile hackerspace or a mobile lab equipped with all the you think of it, all the tech goodies, from 3D printers to mixed reality headset to IoT kits to computers, laptops, or programming and all other creative stuff. The essence of this project is to bridge the gap between those of our friends and colleagues in the rural areas who for some reason might not be exposed to some of these equipment or these technologies, just to break the gap to help them not only be limited by what they see around them when they are innovating. So kindly join me if you want to volunteer, if you want to sponsor, if you want to donate stuff to us. kindly reach out to me at any of my social media handles, down here, and I'll be sure to reach out to you to make this an awesome event. The next thing I want to talk about is there is this 30 days to learn that Microsoft is doing. Almost all the content on Microsoft Learn, there's a challenge like 30 days challenge you can go through to learn, go through the learning part and get certified. So that's something that you can look at. Actually, without much, let's actually go there right now and let me share that screen so you can see it. So right here, let's do this. That's a bit huge. So let me bring the URL here. And you can see that. So it's 30 days to learn, pretty much a whole lot. Let me actually bring my zoom it in and zoom that in for you. Let's bring zoom it. Yep. I thought I opened it, but it's not on. So yeah, let's go. Let's bring it here for you to see that, right? So yeah, lots of things to learn from there. So you can join. You can go to just go to developer.microsoft.com. Actually, let me copy this and paste it here, right? Put it in the chat. So hey, welcome Maxwell. I'm talking about the 30 days to learn that Microsoft is doing. So feel free to, join and learn. Yeah, so pretty much that's all I have in the way of announcement. So next up, new season, new content. What are we expecting? Um, I'm going to list a couple of things, and I will probably go through what we did in the previous season or last year, and then see where we take that from. And to do that, let me go back here. There seems to be some funny thing happening to my screen. Give me a sec. You might be seeing some movement on my screen. I don't know, but for some reason, I think I know why. So the resolution on my screen changed in the last stream, and this was resolved, but yeah, okay. So cool. I think you should be seeing a much better view now. Yeah, so this was what I was talking about, the 30 days to learn. So feel free and get stuff going for yourself. All right, so let's get into it. So last year or last season when we started the show, I think we left off at episode 25. We were actually doing a series on the Microsoft Bot Composer framework, which allow you to build bot in a much easier and flexible way. Uh, and I can tell you that from that last episode to now, there has been a lot of changes. Welcome, Faith. Welcome, 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 welcome. I see I'm seeing my regulars. So let's welcome you. Welcome, my brother. Welcome. I see the returning people. Let's keep this going. So yeah. So like I mentioned, before we get into what to expect on the show or for this season, if you're joining us, like I mentioned, a couple of things are going to change. I'll be going through those things, and then we can talk about other stuff as well. So first will be and don't worry, I'm looking this way because I have kind of like my prompting stuff coming here. I used to have it here, but I moved it around. So we we were working on we're building a bot in last season. We got to a point where the bot could tell us about the weather, and then we're going to translate that. Oh yeah, and Edwin also is here. Welcome to the show. Awesome, awesome. I see a lot of you coming from YouTube. That's good. That's good. I hope you are bringing your 100 friends to join. So anytime you join, bring 100 of your friends to join so we can grow the channel and learn. And you can put your questions here. We can address it. So we're building a bot. We're building the Kofi Ghana bot, and it started actually telling us about the weather. And we're going to take it a step further before we have the break in the transmission and all that. So what we'll be doing in this season or this year continuation, we're going to finish with the bot. We're going to finish with building Kofi Ghana bot. We're going to finish that. Now, once that is done, I've received a lot of feedback from people, from you guys saying, well, um, you want to start from the basics and understand a couple of things. To add to the fact that the bot composer framework has gone through a lot of change, I'll show you in today's episode. What I want to do is that we might backtrack a little for the sakes of the new people we have on the show. We might backtrack a little. I'll walk you through what we've done so far. We'll just backtrack a little to help you set up. Key thing is that I'm going to go through a series of one-on-ones, or let's say 101s, getting started. So bare minimum. And this is going to be the same for Azure, for all of the cloud stuff, serverless, containers, microservices. When we pick the topic, or when we pick the theme for the month, all right, I'm going to make sure that we start from, the very bare minimum, set up your environment, and then get things running, all right. But to finish up with the Kofi Ghana bot, we're going to finish that in this season. We're going to finish it, but we'll go back to the basics so that people can join us. They can start setting up the environment and join us. So just have that in mind. So you'll be seeing a lot of stuff from the bot framework. So the next thing is, in this season as well, we'll be also talking a lot about Azure static apps. We're going to talk about Azure static web apps, the Jamstack way that Microsoft provides for you to build your applications easily, seamlessly, without having to worry a lot about infrastructure and deployment and stuff like that. So that's also going to happen. Then I have received a lot of requests that I'm new to Azure. Hey Ron, awesome, you joined us. Welcome, Ron. So I've also received a lot of requests that, hey, can you also take us through, like, if you pick up service on Azure, can you take us through the 101 very basic so we can understand that? Yes, that's happening. I hear you. I'm going to make that happen. So that's also being accounted for. Then the other thing I always, a lot of people ask me, is it that we're only doing like bot composer and stuff on Windows? No. So I have a surprise for you today. So no, you can actually build that on a Mac as well. So today, welcome. So today, what's going to happen is that um, I'll connect to my Mac here, and I'll just show you that yes, you can download and install that, and I'll give you a homework for those who have Macs. I'll give you a homework because we're going to go back with the bot framework. Now listen carefully. From next week, we're going to start building the bot again. Yes, like I mentioned, we're going to backtrack. So to get started, I'll share the resources, what you need to do to get your environment started, whether you're running Windows or you're running Mac. I'm going to show you how to get us, you're going to set up so that you can join us from next week when we build the bot and give the assignment. So that's going to happen. So you're going to also hear a lot about new technologies and new stuff like Dapper. We'll do a lot of container microservices. And then, yes, we're going to be also talking about some mixed reality stuff as well. So like HoloLens, Oculus, how to develop for it as well. So yeah, remember this channel will just demystify technology. So anything tech that we have to demystify, we'll do that on the show. Now, some things to watch out for this season. Now, if you were in my IoT show, I think I mentioned that, which is one, I'm going to be doing a lot of giveaways. Yes, I'm going to do a lot of giveaways this season because I'm partnering with a lot of friends, colleagues, people, service providers, and other, to give swags, kits, a lot of things. So be mindful. And like I mentioned, some of the ways you can get it, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And then I'll be doing some Kahoot sessions in some episodes, and then also we will be doing some cryptic things, which means that you see that shelf behind me with the drone, my MVP stuff. Now, from starting from next week, I will be putting items on that shelf. I mean, is this going to be there for the show? And at the end of the show, if you can tell me what item that is, what the new item, I won't say it, I'll just be hinting you in the show, but if you can tell me what that item, sometimes it could be cryptic. It might not be what you think it is. It might be cryptic meaning something else. If you can decode that, and then also on this board, on the glass board, I'll put some cryptic stuff that if you're able to decode them, comment any of my platform, tweet or YouTube or Facebook, whatever that is, you would get something from me. You'll get something from me. So be mindful of that. Then also, I'll be bringing some people also on it. We're going to be some interviews with some seasoned tech people to talk about different things in technology as well. And then, as usual, we can have our Q&A sessions. Ask me anything if you want to. I think today I'm going to do a little of Q&A. So for those joining us, if you have any questions, you can actually ask me whilst we're doing this, and I'll be sure to answer. So, like I mentioned, on this season, we're going to do the Kofi Ghana bot. We're going to do a lot of 101. So we're going to do some community-based stuff, and then we'll explore a lot of tools and technology. So today, let me take you right into it. Let me show you what we're doing last season with the bot composer, and then I'll take you to my Mac to show you how to set up. Today's episode might be a bit short, but it's pretty much to give you the info and to set you up. So let's get right into it. So let's get rid of this. And then I have this cool thing, I think it's from Microsoft Bing. I install this, and then it every day gives me a new kind of like screensaver, or I mean wallpaper, so to speak. So let's go ahead and open. I think so. Like I mentioned, there has been a lot of. Let me actually bring this here. It might be a bit huge, but no, let's do this. I think this works better. Yeah. So um, so this is the bot framework composer. If you're familiar with the Microsoft bot framework, all right, it was a framework or tooling developed by Microsoft that allowed you to build bots using C sharp, all right, the code way. Now, the bot framework composer is helping you to build a bot the no code or low code way. All right. So which means that you can build code, you can build a bot, a functional bot by just drag and dropping, connecting to Power Automate and stuff in the cloud, external APIs and stuff like that. All right. You can do that. Now, the cool thing is that if you're familiar with the Microsoft Power Virtual Agent from the Power Platform, all right, you can actually build a bot here and then export the bot to function as a Power Virtual Agent. The cool thing about the bot framework composer is that it also allows you to build a bot for, you can integrate with, I think you can integrate with channels like WhatsApp. I think Telegram, yeah, Telegram, you can do that. So there are ways of building your bots and letting them function in Facebook, in Telegram, in a web chat, and so on. So if you want to build a bot the low code way, this would be an easy entrance into doing that. Like I mentioned, for a while now, since the last time we did this, there has been a lot of changes. As you can see, if you click on the Composer 1.4, what's new? There's a lot of releases and things that have come to it. A lot of stuff. We don't need this. Oh, I just closed it. Why could they add that to it? Now, the bot composer framework actually works hand in hand with what we call the bot emulator. So that allows you to emulate a chat bot, all right, as well. So if we open that here, and yes, I'll be sharing resources on where to download and set this up. And then very soon I'll connect to my Mac to show you that you can do that as well. So here, what happens is that this emulator runs in the background, and then when you're running as you can see, you can test an emulator in a web chat or publish your bot. Now, the cool thing about the bot framework composer is that it allows you to use things like the Louis, it uses some AI cognitive things, quick Q&A maker, which is a question and answer maker from Microsoft, to build a very comprehensive bot. All right. So the bot framework emulator and then the bot framework composer moves hand in hand. So let's take a quick look at some of the quick updates. So now, well, this was almost there, but the UI itself has changed. So if you look at, let's just walk through the configure Nava bot we're building. So I'm just going to click on it. That's going to load it. Some of the backend services I have actually decommissioned. So the API calls might not work, but we can go through it. But since we're going to rebuild it, you're going to see how that works. So let's go here. Now, one of the very visible things you see when you look at the new bot framework composer is the fact that the reorganization of your dialogues, your actions, and your knowledge base and triggers. All right, they've been properly not properly, but they've been more aligned or arranged in a way that is easy for you to see. So you can see that for this welcome bot, you can see for this welcome action, you see the triggers. When they say COVID, help, cancel, or welcome, this is actually associated with the various actions here: cancel, get COVID updates, get weather, and so on. Properly, kind of like arranged and aligned. Then it's they now allow you to see the code quick. You could do that in the previous one, but now it's much visible and clear for you to see and run them. So if I open this, same here, as you can see, it's very drag and drop like. So here you start with a welcome, you go through it. So very, very sweet changes they've done to make it quite easy. The other thing is that now you can change the active language if you want to, all right? So that's also there for you. Now, so the quick thing is to run the bot. I can run the bot to show you how that works. So those that didn't join, start with that. So let's click start here. And then it's going to, so what's going to do is it's going to build or put it together, as you can see. So now it's running. Now, do we want to open it in a web chat? Let me show you this here. So if you look at the top here, so you can see that the bot is running. Kofi Ghana bot is running. Now it's asking, how do you want to test it? Do we want to test it in the web chat, or do we want to test it in an emulator? All right, and because we have the emulator running locally, we can test it in an emulator. So I'm going to do that. Just hit the emulator. What's going to happen is that it's going to invoke, right? I can actually copy. It's going to invoke, an instance of the emulator, and then you can see that the bot is running. So now, if you look closely, the bot has just started, and then here saying Akwabam Kofi Ghana, the smartest virtual agent in town. How can I help you? All right. So we had just got into building it and making it ask of the weather. So I'm just going to try to go through this process. So if I say, tell me about the weather. All right, so let's bring this in again. So as you can see, I started by asking Kofi, tell me about the weather, and then it responded by saying, sure, let's check the weather. And then it was asking me here, what's your zip code? And like we started, when we started to build this, we were using the weather service, which was giving us which was using zip code as the search parameter. So we created an API that when you called with a zip code will give you the weather information. And like I mentioned, I actually shut down that service. So when we rebuild it, so here even if I entered if I entered a zip code, it will tell me the host is not known because I've shut down that service. But the cool thing is that even with this, I can decide to, if I type in help, if I type in help here, all right, as you can see, it's giving me, some information here. Hello, this is your buddy Kofi Ghana. Just asked me about the weather. So it's just right now, it's just telling you stuff about the weather. And we said that we're going to build it to do different things, tell you the weather, trending news, and stuff. So that's what we're going to be building. And what I have decided to do in this episode is that I am going to make the source code to this project available on GitHub. So all my subscribers, once you subscribe, just send me your email. I'll give you access to the GitHub repo. You can go you can go clone it, and then play with it as you want. All right. So that's one thing I want to, so you can follow along. So let's get back into that. So I'm going to quickly, so this is just very basic. If I say cancel, as you can see, it says canceling. All right, so basically that's just, let's stop this from running and let me walk you through how we went through this. So very basic. So we started with a bot. All right, and you can see these are the various actions to which you can trigger some events too. So let's start with this one. So you can see there was a welcome. Let's go here. So this is the welcome. Okay, so quite simple. So this is just like if you use any drag and drop application, that's how simple it is. So there's a branch if and else if the person provided a simple thing. Now, the one of the things we're using in this bot, I'll show you pretty soon, is here on the side for where we started for the recognizer. Now the recognizer is kind of like the engine or the way the bot is able to understand what you're telling it. And currently we're just using regular expression right here. However, the cool thing is that we can use the full AI suite, which is the Lewis. or language understanding and intelligence services. We can use Lewis, and it can infer a lot of the things for us. So we're going to start. And we're going to start with the regular expression, and then whilst it evolves, we'll change it to Lewis, and then you can even build your own custom recognizer as well if you want to. So let's go back here. So quite simple. When it starts, we just send a message, hello. Let's do this so you can see this. So when it starts, it sends a response. Hi, I'm Kofi Ghana. I have the latest news in gossip, and all that. Now, I'm using what we call the language template. So you just put all this in this environment with a pick and drop. Yes. Yeah, yep. Yeah. So pretty much that's it. Now, what you're seeing here is something called let's see if yep. So what you're seeing here is something actually called the template generator. So you realize that I put a dash here and put a dash here and then something else. So this tells us that we can actually have multiple responses anytime the bot starts, right? So the bot can either respond with either, hi, I'm Kofi Ghana, I have the latest news, gossip, weather, blah, 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 or it will probably tell you that Akwaba, I'm Kofi Ghana, and that it can tell you this. All right. So that's what that means. So with that said, this is just a welcome, right? And then we just wait for it. Now, when the person triggers weather, okay, you see what's happening. So that's an intent. So when the person says or using the recognizer and finds anything weather in it, it knows that the person intention is to get information about the weather. And with that, it goes to call, here we have the get weather what? Flow. All right. So if you look at the get weather, it's just simple. So you see the responses here again. So the responses for that will be either sure, let's check the weather, or right on, or all right, let's do this. So these are possible responses that it can give you, and this can actually be smart. If you link it with Lewis and some AI model, it can actually generate the response. One of the cool things I did was some time back with a different bot platform was that you see these responses was actually tied to an API. So I probably would ask you, hey, can you guys go putting a bunch of things that the bot should respond with, and then it will pick the data from the API and then create this template. So that's a cool thing. And then once it does that, it prompts the user for a text. It says, what's your what? What's your zip code? And then there's a suggestion that gives you that. So it gets the zip code and stores the zip code into what it calls, let's bring this here, what it calls a variable, all right, or a memory location, and then reuses that. So here, if you look closely, once it picks a zip code, you realize that we are now using the zip code to do an HTTP request. All right, so if you've been thinking, how does the bot do this? Well, the bot can send HTTP requests. So if you have an endpoint or an API, you can collect information from the user and then send it off to an HTTP request. The bot will wait for that response, and then when it gets the response, you can pretty much do what you want to do. And then you can see that from here, what we're doing was we're checking the response. All right, so if we're expecting that the response code to be 200. If it is 200, and we know that we have a weather response, and then we can give that information, and we're using something called adaptive cards. So quickly, this is just a recap to help those of you who were not with us last season or last year to know what we'll be working on. So like I said, we're going to start all over again to build this and finish it. So there's a lot more to expect. So make sure you subscribe, and anytime we publish it, you're going to get the notification, and when we go live, you get it. Another thing I'll do is that sometimes the lessons are a bit, long, so I might end the stream and do a blog post and put it up there. So make sure you go check out my blog as well, and then you can get some of this information from there. So yeah, if it gets an error, it says that I got an error or returns that error information. So on the low, this is what it did. Let's quickly go look at the COVID intent. So when the person is trying to get something about COVID, we know that we need to call the get COVID action. So let's try that again so you can see that in perspective. We've seen the weather and then COVID. So we had just got to the point we're trying to build for COVID, and then we went off. So let's start when we start this, and then we'll try to run that again. So yep, let's open it in the emulator. Actually, yeah, it's going to open another one. So let me get rid of this one and then this one. Yeah. So here you go. So let me do this. Yeah, so that you can see this a bit bigger. Cool. And the cool thing is, for those who are joining us, the cool thing is that if you look to the side, there's always going to be kind of like your activities here. So let's say, let me even just say COVID. All right. So it says, sure, tell me what you want to know. Um, what is COVID? We've not actually done this, so what COVID related service can I help you with? So you realize that this is just the response from the COVID side. We had not finished building this before we went on the break, so we would, do this. And one of the things I was talking about was, so you can see that on the side here, you actually see how the emulator is working, which is basically all the post and responses that is coming from what is sent. And you can actually save the transcript. And some of the things I'll be showing in this season or episode is, you can save the transcript or record the transcript and replay it. All right, replay that. If you're doing something like a test and you want to ensure that you're getting the right responses, you can save this transcript and replay it. All right, so that's how you do it. So this is just a quick recap. So to get yourself ready for this, you need to make sure, whether you're using a Windows or a Mac machine, you need to get that ready. You need to make sure you're getting the latest version of .NET Core, and you need to make sure that you have the board framework emulator, and then you have the board framework composer. All right, and you can do that. Now you can also use Visual Studio Code. So if you don't have Visual Studio Code, you can install that. That's perfectly fine. All right. So for today's to show you that this is also possible, let's actually go right here. Let me get so I'm going to switch over to my Mac, which is here. All right, and then let's log in. And if you have any questions, please put it in the chat. I would do well to respond. Yep, so as you can see, I was running some updates on my Visual Studio Code because it's been a long while since I ran the update. So you will need, let's go here. I think I already started. Okay, so what you're going to need is you're going to need the board composer emulator, right? So yeah, let's do this. Let's open this up. So let's go to installation. So as you can see, you need the emulator, right? You need the .NET Core SDK. And then you're going to also make sure you're running in a supported stuff. So once you install, you have all these prerequisites, which is the .NET Core SDK 3.1, and then you have the board framework emulator. You can go ahead and install the composer. So I think I was downloading this. I'm not sure if it's done. Let's go check this out. So downloads. All right, so I have just the runtime. Yeah, I would install that. So just to let you know, this is doable on a Mac as well. As you can see, the emulator is here for a Mac. Either use the zip or the file itself. So let me go ahead and download this. Hopefully, and don't worry, I'm on a different internet, so that should not affect your stream. So that's downloading, and then would also need I think I already have this. Yeah. And then we need a composer. So we need a composer for Mac. All right. So we're installing the emulator, and then the composer is also, as you can see down here, that's also downloading. So to join us to get started, all right, whilst that's downloading, so from our next episode, we're going to start from the basics, which means, so for the next month, we're going to try to finish as much as we can on the Kofi Ghana board. So in a combination of the live stream, the blog post, and then, further short videos that will be posted on my YouTube channel. So to get the full dosage, make sure you subscribe so you can get the information. So whilst I'm waiting for this to download, it means that if you want to join us, make sure you have these things set up. Visual Studio Code on whichever environment you're working on, Windows or Mac. And then also get yourself .NET Core 3.1 Plus or the latest. Get yourself the bot framework emulator, and then the bot framework composer. You need to get all these things installed on your environment, and then you can join us. Yeah, this is taking a while, but with that said, let's also look at a few things that we'll be talking about on this particular series or this particular show. I made mention that we're going to be talking about the bot composer framework. The other thing we'll be talking about is also the Azure Static Web Apps. So let me take you there. Let's go take a look at Azure Static Web Apps whilst that's installing. So like I mentioned, this season stuff is going to primarily be, today's episode is primarily going to tell you what to expect and how to set up and all that. So let's go here. There you go. And I try as much as possible to do this with you so you see the process. You know that, hey, we are we also go through the same thing. Now, what Azure Static Web Apps is if you're not familiar with the JAM stack, JAM stack, which is JavaScript, API, and markup. All right, JavaScript means now you can write JavaScript both in client side and server side. So you're pretty much writing JavaScript, and then your API is your endpoint. You're writing apps with JavaScript that's connecting to any API, and then your markup. So your markup could be a React front end, or it could be an Angular front end, could be a Vue front end. So you can do React, Angular, or Vue, build your app, simply connect it to APIs and deploy it. And then, Azure Static Web Apps makes this easy for you. It's actually as easy as this. I like to use this diagram to completely illustrate it. So it's easy as this. You have your code base in GitHub, all right? When you do a pull or push or commit into your repository, automatically has an action that builds everything into a static web app. Now, I know this is some form of a controversy because people would initially say, but we thought we're moving away from static web pages versus dynamic web pages. Yes, but if you actually think about things in perspective, when a web page is rendered, all right, the content in there is either rendered from the server and shown to you until you probably are interacting with the page, depending on the application you're building. Until, kindly post the link for the downloads. Yes, Maxwell, I'll do that. I'll actually share that right now. So, unless you're interacting with certain parts of the application, you don't make any calls. All right. So look at the Jamstack as kind of like a serverless or like a lightweight way of building application. Behind a lot of the Jamstack is kind of like serverless applications. So here it is using Azure functions. And if you're not familiar with functions, go check my channel. I have a lot on functions. This show actually used to be called Functions Friday. We're only doing Azure functions. And I was like, no, let's open it up so we can talk about other stuff as well. So we have a lot of content on there. Now, Azure Functions is one of the function as a service or serverless offerings from Microsoft Azure. So yeah, so we can use that. So think about it. Your HTML. So you can consider HTML, CSS as, let's say, your Vue, your React, your Tailwind CSS, your foundation, whatever you want to call it. All right, interacting with your JavaScript, and here JavaScript could be vanilla JavaScript, it could be TypeScript, it could be anything, Flow, whatever that is. All right. Now, putting all this together, calling an API that does something for you, and that's it. You build a Jamstack. So the Azure Static Web App also allows you to do that. So on this in this season or this year, we're going to be doing a lot on both static web apps, some mixed reality stuff, and then the general demystifying technology stuff. So building stuff, perusing other stuff like that. So yeah, so that's what we'll be taking a look at. So yeah, let's put it here. So if we do the bot composer, let me actually share the resources with you guys so that you can get your environment ready, because next week we're starting to build the board from scratch, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to share this link. So when you go there, you should be, let's do this. So I'm not sure if you can see from Facebook, but it looks as if we're not streaming to Facebook. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we're only streaming. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. 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 All right. Looks like we have an error that will fix that. So yeah. So that's the resource. If you go there, you're going to see info to info to download. How do you call it? Your info to download the bot framework. All right, and then info to download your SDKs. All right, and then you're good to go. All right. Another thing is I've received a few um, how do you call it? A few concerns about not talking about some specific technology. But here's the case. If you have any specific tech you want me to talk about, just hit me. All right. Send comment, send me an email or send me a message that hey, you think this topic is of interest. Can we discuss it? Can we talk about it? Just let me know, and then we can talk about that. I'm here, to help you build, to learn, and get better at stuff that you do. So yep. Without much ado, this is where we bring. Let's check on our. Let's see what's happening to our installation. Oh yeah, so it looks like. So I have got. There was a few forbiddings, but looks like I've got my emulator downloaded. I've got my ngrok. I've got my runtime. I'm only waiting for my composer to finish downloading, and then I will set up both my Mac and my Windows environment. So if you want to make a date with us and join us to build bots the easy and simplest way, make sure you have your environment set up. Make sure you get everything ready and join us next week when we start to build Kofi Ghana Bot 101. Until then, I would like to say a big thank you to all of you for making a date with me. Don't forget mystery objects coming next week. So be smart about it. Tell a friend to tell a friend, tell another friend, join the stream. Let's learn and have fun. Until then, thanks to you guys, Maxwell, Ron, Faith, Edwin, Eric, um, uh, I mean, all of you, 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 all of you. Thank you for joining. And if you have any questions, some people have direct access to me. If you have any questions, reach out. Ask me. Yeah, I'll be sure to answer. For those who know me, I'll be very glad to honor those things. But hey, stay safe over the weekend. Play nice, learn something new. If you're stuck, reach out, help one another, and let's make the world a better place. Until then, this has been your one and only Samuel Adranyi signing out until we connect again. Peace out.